Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Leadnap Gaming. This week, we're going to talk about Inside Star Citizen and the PR nightmare that 3.9 has been. We're also going to talk about the best thing to happen in Star Citizen all year. We're going to clear up some Matric questions from last week, and we're going to talk about a new giveaway.
Systems activated. Systems on.
I'm trying to hold out here on going into 3.9. I know you can check it out on a number of channels now that it's in PTU, and I know I'm giving up views doing so, but I just don't want to spoil the exploration if you, like me, are trying to wait. I strongly think we're going to have 3.9 next week, so expect a reveal here when it goes live, but until then, I don't want to spoil it for you. Watching CIG's Inside Star Citizen episode this week, I got a glimpse into what the PR department really has struggled to do all year, and really ever: transparency. 3.9 has been a huge setback. The evocati period was filled with issues. It should have been here weeks ago, and so on. The community has been up in arms as more and more dropped off the roadmap, and there's been open discussion. Is this the fizzled out end of CIG? Will they just point at COVID and call it quits? With the practical radio silence from CIG all month, there was certainly a growing possibility. Then yesterday, Inside Star Citizen came out, and the doubts, worries, and fears all moved away. Outside of the channel, I work in IT, and I can attest that my last month has been insanely busy, with every one of our clients moving to a work-from-home model. Infrastructure changes, new policies, training users how to do things differently. It's been insane, and admittedly I am quite tired. You would think for a studio in a number of different countries this wouldn't be so hard, but CIG demonstrated that they had their own fair share of problems making this remote thing work. But that could be for the better. Before moving on to the better, I think it's fair to be upset, however, with the PR department. Most Americans have been locked down in their homes for a month now. Many Europeans, too. Where lockdowns occurred in Asia, the time has been even longer. Yet here we are, just now being given the heads up by CIG that they took a beating in this too. This outrage is their own doing, because a month ago I gave CIG immense credit that while the rest of the world was shutting down and facing delays, CIG kept up the perception they were unaffected. Things were rolling along just fine. We know today it wasn't, but their continuation of the business as normal look created the expectation that 3.9 should be on time. It looks terrible when you make something look on time, then after it should have been released, start pulling items. A month ago, had CIG done like every other business that has ever collected my email and explained steps they were taking to transition their workforce to home-based operations, had they explained all of the problems they were encountering, the community would have rallied behind them. This is the very problem that continues to leave skeptics about Star Citizen as a scam. Probably half the games in development are today early access alphas, just like Star Citizen. And the truth is, the reason only CIG gets hammered as a scam is their own poor public relations. It isn't all bad news though. CIG has had to make major changes to their process, fix major inefficiencies, adjust meeting cycles and systems. In the short run, this means less features and more delays, which we all know is commonplace with CIG. But in the long run, such optimization can only help them deliver content faster and better. I personally think one of the best impacts this has had on CIG is a social one. Eddie Hilditch explains that the social aspect of not being side by side in the office has begun to affect the team, and that the play sessions that they do together are longer and that they've taken on new meaning. The developers are rediscovering the entirety of our experience. Players linked through time spent together inside the verse. The ideas, optimizations, realizations, and improvements that come from this should be amazing, and it makes me happy knowing that good will come from this. There was much more in the Inside Star Citizen episode than I'll get to today, but the future looks bright. I wanted to spend a few minutes on Matric again, just because I got a lot of questions and wanted to hammer out a few of the big answers that kept coming up. Game Glass. There is another application out there that performs a similar service, which is Game Glass. I don't have Game Glass personally, but I know people who do, and I have checked it out. While these both go after the same function, they perform it in radically different ways. Game Glass is programmed as an input, and being programmed, it has some pretty cool features that Matric doesn't. Take, for example, Game Glass offers a shield power grid similar to the UI in the game, and sliders for power and laser power controls. Matric can't offer this, and while I wouldn't say never, it probably will never feature them either. Matric is a keyboard emulator, meaning every command Matric sends is interpreted by your PC as if it came from the keyboard. Game Glass, on the other hand, is an input, like a keyboard, mouse, or joystick. Being an input allows it more range of commands, but this has a trade-off. Windows 10 limits inputs to 10, Star Citizen only 4. So if you have a keyboard, mouse, and a HOTAS, you have room for Game Glass and nothing else, and this assumes that your model of HOTAS is unitary. Matric gets around this, because Matric isn't an input. It uses the keyboard input. There's then no limit to the number of tablets running Matric simultaneously either. In the same boat, Game Glass has to support the game, because it's programmed as an input. There is no DCS support for Game Glass, and if there was, they would have to make one for each module. Once again, Matric gets around this because each button on Matric simply corresponds to a series of keyboard strokes. Well, this means you don't get slider function. Matric is universal. If the game supports a keyboard, it supports Matric. Matric also gives you customization. You get to choose what is on the tablet, how big, where, and so on. If you only play Star Citizen and don't mind it being more expensive, Game Glass is probably worth checking out. If you play DCS or other games as well, Matric is probably a better run for your money, and it is much cheaper. Matric didn't sponsor my review. In fact, they didn't even know about it until it was published. That said, they sent me some codes for you guys to redeem to get Matric for free. I've got 4 codes to give, and here's how I'm going to give them away. Simply head over to Facebook and then on to the Leadnap gaming page, and post a photo of either a deck you've made for Matric, or a picture of your gaming setup similar to this one. Please keep the photos PG. The 2 photos that get the most likes in either category win free codes for Matric. I'll count the winners next Friday, and since it's Facebook, I can messenger them right over to you. As always, like and share this video, subscribe if you haven't, and I will catch you all next time.